right, welcome back. Hour 2 of the Charlie Kirk Show, and I am extraordinarily excited about our next guest, and I'll tell you why, because he is a dear friend, and he has not been back on the show since we lost Charlie, and he, at various points in this show's history, has been a regular. He even joined us in Detroit. We're going to play that clip, and that, of course, is Kane from Citizen Free Press. Very excited to have you back on the show, my friend. Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show.
Yeah, happy to be here, Andrew. I checked, on the Zoom invite for this interview. It was February 13th.
That was the last time you were on?
Yeah, that was the last time I on. So you and I talked, obviously, February, March, April. I remember we DM back and forth. But I was just, as you know, I got pissed off about the deficits, right, in the big, beautiful bill. And I was having a battle with Bessent and Russ Vogt, and so I just was negative, man. All I would have had to say was negative stuff about how there weren't enough spending cuts. So I ducked out of the media scene for 6 months or so.
Yeah, that's interesting, and Blake will remember this as well. We kind of went through our own journey, and Charlie went through his own journey with the big, beautiful bill, and I think it really turned for him when we had Stephen Miller on the show. It was an extended conversation, like 30, 35 minutes, and it went viral, kind of explaining the nuances of the bill, why Stephen Miller was in support of it. Obviously, he's part of the administration, so you've got to assume that he's, going to say supportive things. But it was actually an incredibly compelling moment, and I remember that clip went viral and really helped galvanize a lot of the base of support for that bill. But listen, we understand everybody wanted less spending. We all want less spending. We do. But go ahead, Ken.
Yeah. I was going to say, I understood Bessent's point the whole time, and I even tried to promote it. I was giving them a fair shake. And what he was saying was basically this, 300, I think the spending cut number, for the first year was 156 billion. And his point was, look, if we cut 300 billion or 350 or 400 billion out of discretionary, it's actually going to take a 1% slice out of GDP. And that's what he was worried about. He was saying, give them 4 years, they're going to get this right. He was talking all about measuring it as a percentage of GDP. So he's like, we're at 7% now. Give us 4 years, we'll get it into the threes. We'll get it down to, to where the annual deficit is just 3.5% of GDP. And I understood his point, and that's what Stephen Miller was talking about. I was just, as I've told you privately, right, the whole reason I'm into politics, that I got radicalized back in 1987 when I was working at CNN, was the national debt. And that's when it crossed like a $1.5 trillion or $2 trillion. So I just, I have a stick up my butt about the debt and deficit. And just, I figured somehow I got this large audience after 8 years, right? And I might as well use it. And so I used it to just kind of drive the point that Senator Johnson and a few others were really making about cuts. But anyway, I'm over it. I was never against the bill, and I made that clear on the final day that I fully supported it. Anyway, whatever. Well, I don't want to get lost in that.
That's admirable. That's admirable, because we do need people to care about that. We can't forget about it, because people, it's the thing everyone in the country loves to just push under the rug. But the rug is getting it's getting very elevated at this point. But we wanted to have you on, Kane, because what Charlie loved talking to you about so much was you have those links out there. You see what people are clicking on, what they care about. You are incredibly good vibes reader, as it were. And we've had a lot of discussion this last fall about what are the vibes on the right. Are they feeling optimistic? Are they feeling downbeat? How quickly can one change from the one to the other? So the floor is yours on that question.
Well, here's what I would say quickly. I would say, you know what? The base is fine. They're maybe scared. And I'm going to make the distinction between the Twitter base and the base that never goes on Twitter unless they're on a link, from CFP, people who don't have Twitter accounts. So again, the scared part, why is that? Well, it's always the same thing, that we get our butts kicked in these special elections, in these off-year elections. And Charlie and I would go through that. He would be like, chill out, Kane. It's going to be okay. We're going to get turnout, in 2024. And you remember we lost, 13 straight of those special Democrats overperformed in 13 straight. So anyway, they're scared because of that, right? They're scared because of us.
Kane, I think We're cutting in and out there.
Technical differences. We'll never know. We'll never know what they're scared of.
Blake or Kane, are you there still?
What happened in New Jersey, and I'm back. Can you hear me yet?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
yep.
I'm here.
Yeah, we got
I'm
you.
here.
We got you.
Okay.
We're losing him. We're losing you again, Kane. I'm going to give you a chance to reset, and I'm going to play a clip from this was your first public appearance with Charlie and I in Detroit at our People's Convention last year. Let's go ahead and play 147 while we get Kane reconnected. 147.
If we do not expand our base with new voter registration and high turnout, we are not going to win. And the higher turnout, the higher likelihood that we are going to win.
Yes.
And Democrats know this. And so we need to engage in every legal way we possibly can to make it too big to rig. And Kane, if our elections were actually honest and secure, what would the result end up being?
I want people to understand what Turning Point Action, Turning Point USA has been doing over the last 6 months regarding chasing the vote. All right. What Andrew just talked about, the low propensity voters. We've got to get out and register at all, play by the rules. We don't like these rules. We don't think that absentee ballots are the way to go for the future. But as long as they're part of the system, we have to use that.
It's a good memory, Kane. Hey, Kane, if you can hear me, I'm not sure if you're with us or if we're reconnecting you, but you and I reconnected recently, and I was telling you, I've gotten a bunch of emails at freedom@charliekirk.com saying, "Where's Citizen Free Press? Where's Kane? Where is he?" Looks like we lost Kane. That's too bad. Okay, try and get him reconnected, guys.
I'm now looking through some of our emails. In fact, I think we were inspired to reach out to him again because we had an email from Samantha just a week ago. Hey, Blake and Andrew, has anyone checked in with Citizen Kane? Is he doing okay? And I said, yes, we still talk to him. He's doing well, but we actually need to get him on the show, too.
All right. Well, so this is a good time to bring up the updates in Indiana. I cannot tell you how many emails I've gotten or texts from reporters about Indiana. So we announced this last week. We had a rally there at the State House in Indiana, and there is a big, big fight that is brewing right now, and it's going to come to a head probably this week, where they are going to vote on the new maps in Indiana. So are we going to have a completely red state, all Republican congressional districts redrawn? There's a certain percentage of the senators in that state that have not indicated which way they are going to vote. There is a strong possibility, and the reason this is pertinent to Kane, obviously, is that's his home state. He's a big Indiana Hoosier. And so they're going to reconvene Monday afternoon to begin consideration of House Bill 1032. And the redesign would likely eliminate Indiana's 2 Democratic-held congressional districts to create a 9-0 Republican map ahead of 2026. This is a huge, huge deal. The House approved the redistricting bill as expected on a vote 57-41. 12 Republicans joined all Democrats in opposition. But Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray has warned that there are not enough votes to move that idea forward. And so what's happening in the background here is that groups like Turning Point Action and others, there's a big coalition that is building and forming. We are going to have congressional level spending going after to primary these senators in Indiana to get them more in alignment with their base voters. The base voters in Indiana want this new map. Kane, I've transitioned since you've been gone to this new redistricting map. There is a huge, huge push going on right now.
How do people feel about redistricting, Indiana and across the country?
30 seconds, then we're going to have to take a quick break.
They're incredibly pissed off in Indiana that the Indiana Senate is blowing all this smoke. As you probably mentioned, the vote was 57-41 in the House, Indiana House, just on Friday, right? And that was with 10 or 11 Republicans defecting and voting with Democrats. There's going to be hell to pay if the Indiana Senate doesn't approve this thing. And the last thing I'll say before commercial, in that Political article, they say that Mike Johnson's been making phone calls, and don't bet on this outcome yet. We may get our map.
Kane, we're going to take you in the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.